Alright guys, Suicide Squad. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about this film, and it's very fashionable at the moment to hate it, and certain character portrayals. But hey, some people also really liked it. So let us all come together, haters and fans alike, and learn some random facts about the Suicide Squad. Not just the film, but the comics as well. I'm Sasha Wood, and these are the top 10 random facts about the Suicide Squad. Number 10. The Enchantress. Lots of people had never heard of her, and she got called out for being a lame villain. But did you know the Enchantress was actually a member of the popular 80s lineup of the Suicide Squad? And in fact, her character first appeared in Strange Adventures number 187 way back in 1966, where she was called the Switcheroo Witcheroo on the cover. As for her going crazy, that was the plot of the first few issues of Justice League Dark, which occurred during the New 52 relaunch in 2011. However, she has always been used very sparingly and isn't overly popular or extremely well known. In fact, when you hear the name Enchantress, you probably think of another character first, that being Marvel's Enchantress. There is more than one Marvel Enchantress, but most are familiar with Amora, sister to Lorelei and one of Thor's greatest enemies. In fact, many are still hoping to see her pop up in a Thor film. Speaking of characters people were waiting to see, fans have been anticipating a big screen Harley Quinn forever, and they got it in at number 9. However, while Suicide Squad marks the first big screen live action appearance of Harley Quinn, it's not her first live action appearance. That honor actually goes to the short-lived series from 2002, Birds of Prey. The show lasted for 13 episodes and starred Mia Sara as Dr. Harleen Quinzel for the main series, and she was played by Sherilyn Fenn in the unaired pilot. The series also has the most early 2000s theme of all time. And Harley's not the only character you've seen before. Our number 8 is the fact that the Suicide Squad has also appeared multiple times before on the small screen. The Suicide Squad has previously appeared on Smallville and Arrow. They had previously appeared as a cartoon in the series Justice League Unlimited in the episode Task Force X, which is the name of the project they are launched under in the 80s miniseries that skyrockets them to mainstream popularity. It isn't even the first film to portray them if you count the animated features, this being the DC direct-to-video release Batman Assault on Arkham, released in 2014, and some feel it's actually a more accurate adventure. It's hard to be accurate these days, which brings us to number 7, Harley's Costume. People often misrepresent how actress Margot Robbie felt about her Harley Quinn costume. If you were anticipating the big screen version of the Suicide Squad, you may have stumbled across articles saying that Margot hated the costume and that it was degrading. However, that's not actually what she said. In an interview with the New York Times, she stated that Margot, was not comfortable in the costume, but she felt it was perfect for Harley. Basically, that was something that she would never wear out herself, but it was fine for a set costume. She stated, "I tried on like 100 different variations of the costume, but when I saw we found this picture of Debbie Harry, and I was like, that's it, that is dope." So Harley's look was inspired by the lead singer of the punk band Blondie. Margot stated, "So I love that costume. Basically, this is a case of having to separate actor from role. Margot's not gonna dress like Harley in real life, but she felt the character's costume was very fun. True feelings or good PR? You decide." The Suicide Squad could just use some better PR in general, cause in at number 6 we have the fact that the film was actually nominated for a number of awards, 37 awards in fact. And as of the time of this recording, it has actually won 7, and that might change based on when this actually goes up. And these aren't just for hair and makeup or soundtrack, they're also for Best International Film, Best International Actor, Favorite Movie. But don't get too excited, they're not all good. They also include Worst Film, which it won according to the Village Voice film poll, and Actress Most in Need of a New Agent for Margot Robbie from the Alliance of Women Film Journalists, which it did not win. Which is good, because that's ridiculous. Margot Robbie's career is taking off at the time of this recording, and most people loved her Harley and felt that she stole the film, so that nom seems a little salty. If you wanted to see even more Harley, you may have picked up the extended edition Blu-ray of this film, but you may have been disappointed, and here's why in at number 5. The Suicide Squad extended cut still does not include all the scenes that were cut from the film. If you saw the ad campaigns and then the theatrical cut of this film, film and the extended cut, you'll notice there are still some things from the trailer that never made it into either version. Director David Ayer stands by his cut, but fans are less than thrilled, especially because a large chunk of what was cut was Joker-centric. And for those who like Jared Leto's Joker, it was a major disappointment. Another disappointment for some was Deadshot, in at number 4. Deadshot is one of the core members of every iteration of the Suicide Squad. However, he is very different from the one portrayed by Will Smith in the film. The comic book version of Deadshot, who occupies the Suicide Squad, especially pre-New 52, is probably the member who lives up to its name the most, as he is actually suicidal. One of the few members to volunteer for these missions without even always needing to be blackmailed, he is unstable, violent, and a near unrepentant killer, with an unhealthy obsession with both Batman and Rick Flag, both of whom he looks up to as surrogate brother figures. His characterization is majorly tweaked for the film, including making him a good father, which again, is not a thing. He's a terrible father. It probably makes him much more sympathetic for the audiences though. Let's get some history at number 3. The Suicide Squad first appeared in The Brave and the Bold number 25 back in 1959 during the Silver Age, and bears little resemblance to the modern squad. They weren't villains and they weren't coerced or anything like that. Instead, they were team members assembled to fight an object called the Red Wave that was boiling the ocean. They had numerous adventures after that, but the only member to survive this iteration was team leader Rick Flag Jr. Number 2. The team really explodes into popularity in the 1980s after being featured in the comic book crossover event Legends, which ran from 1985 to 1986. The plot involves Darkseid making a wager with the Phantom Stranger that he can make Earth turn against its own heroes. Kind of like Marvel's Secret Wars, which began in 1984, but with its own distinct twist. The series introduced the new concept of recruiting expendable supervillains to deal with threats that heroes can't for reasons of, say, morality. The series was plotted by John Ostrander, who went on to helm the Suicide Squad comics for a number of years. He is considered by many the godfather of the Suicide Squad. So let's find out what the godfather of this team had to say about the film version, in at number 1. Drum roll. He really liked it. On the film, he had this to say: "I really liked the film. Not perfect by a long shot, but a really good time in the movie theater. And for me, a lot of it was just amazing. The look, the detail, the feel of the film is not something I've seen in superhero movies before." He goes on to acknowledge that yeah, it's not exactly his team, but he still liked the new take on it, which I think is awesome. More people with open minds, I say, especially creators. So those were the top 10 random facts about the Suicide Squad. Were you surprised? Did you already know all these? And of course, what did you think of the film adaptation? Did you like it or not? Share why down below, and I want real reasons, not just it sucked, like explanations. As always, leave your list suggestions. I'm Sasha Wood. Catch us here again on Top 10 Nerd for even more nerdy lists.